Hey everybody, Joe Gonzalez here, and I have some really important news that I want to share with all of you. As you know, I have a new group, the Financial Patriots, and the idea of Financial Patriots is to help all of us survive and thrive in the new world. And I believe we have just gotten a huge hint about what's to come and possibly why they are putting us through everything that they are doing to us over these last several months. And I want you to take a look at the screen, listen to this video, and hopefully everything comes through in this video. If it doesn't, you want to go to the International Monetary Fund website, imf.org, and listen to the video that's on the front page. This news just came out yesterday, and you'll see the title here, A New Bretton Woods Moment. A new Bretton Woods moment. And think this, worldwide, only 4,370 people have seen this particular video. And this is why this is such huge news for all of you. Let me explain, please, if you don't know already, because this may impact your whole life, your whole future. And I'm not exaggerating on this. I don't know what's to come exactly, but when they come out with something like this, a new Bretton Woods moment, what that means is this. Bretton Woods was an agreement that was set up after World War II, 1944, to have the whole world come back together and restructure. And about every 80 years or so, we get a new monetary system, and that was last done in 1944. And what that did, and I live here in the United States, and everybody throughout the world is really used to using US dollars for trade, and that was called the petrodollars. We went into this Bretton Woods, and the United States negotiated a deal in which they said, up until this point, all the world's currency was really backed by gold. And what they did at this point is I believe what they said in 1944 was, okay, great. The US will back the currency with the gold. And then all of you other countries go ahead and peg your currency to the US dollar. And so they didn't have to have the gold. The US had the gold, but they pegged their currency to our US dollar. That made all the trade in the world happen in US currency, which made the United States be able to borrow like crazy. And as you know, we have $27 trillion in debt now, but we became the bank for everybody all over the world as well, and giving aid and everything. And our dollars went to other countries, and they bought our treasury bills for borrowing, our treasury notes, bonds for borrowing. But all of trade really happened in US dollars. Well, in 1971, Richard Nixon then, at that point, after it had been going on for, almost 30 years, Richard Nixon in 1971 took the US and they said, we are no longer going to back our dollar by gold. And of course, this caused shockwaves, and it meant that gold could now be traded freely in the world, and US citizens were allowed to own gold in 1971 after that. But what it meant was that 100% of our currency was no longer backed by gold. It was just simply what's called fiat currency, which is backed by nothing. It's just a governmental decree that says this is our money. And what that also meant was the US then became the world's military power, and we built up our military industrial complex, and basically we policed the world. And this is just huge news, you guys, because what this means, and you've seen everything that's going on with the elections and with COVID, and the way they're changing our behaviors. I believe this has everything to do with it, because China wants to be the world reserve currency next. And so they're fighting hard because their economy is now so large. and we want to keep our currency, our world reserve status, but the IMF wants to have, and you know, the Democratic side through climate change initiatives and totalitarian type moves, they want everybody, they want us moving towards this one world government movement, which Trump has said, no way, I want the US to be the US. But here's the thing, why everybody is fighting against Donald Trump is because they all want a new monetary system and a new world currency, and so you see a lot of this fighting. So I want you to go to this video, and I'm going to turn it on right now and just listen to what she says, and I'll walk you through it.
Reflecting on the dramatic change in the world over the last year, I paid a visit to Bretton Woods in New Hampshire.
Oh, by the way, this is the chairman of the International Monetary Fund,
where 44 men signed our Articles of Agreement in 1944. Our founders faced two massive tasks: to deal with the immediate devastation caused by the war and to lay the foundation for a more peaceful, more prosperous post-war world.
So they are coming back together.
At the conclusion of the conference, John Maynard Keynes captured the significance of international cooperation as hope for the world.
Okay, so John Maynard Keynes.
If we can continue, the brotherhood of men will have become more than a phrase, he said. As we look...
John Maynard Keynes is a socialist economist, okay? He believes that the government should fix all of our problems instead of individuals and capitalism fixing problems. So you'll see this whole movement has all over the last 50, 70 years all been about getting the central banks more and more involved in government control in our lives, which is, they want even more of that.
Forward to welcoming Andorra as our 190th member. The work of the IMF is testament to the values of cooperation and solidarity on
cooperation and solidarity. They want totalitarianism,
which a sisterhood and brotherhood of humanity is built. Today, we face a new Bretton Woods moment.
Okay, a major announcement, a new Bretton Woods moment.
Pandemic that has already cost more than 1 million lives.
Talking about the pandemic.
An economic calamity that will make the world economy
4.4%
smaller this year and strip an estimated 11 trillion of output by next.
So you mean to tell me that they didn't have all this planned and that wasn't part of the plan? Come on, gang, look at this.
Year. And untold human desperation in the face of huge disruption, rising poverty for the first time in decades.
Rising poverty.
Once again, we face two massive tasks: to fight the crisis today and build a better tomorrow.
Okay, so they basically made their announcement that they want to build the better tomorrow. And look at this. It says she calls for action to ensure a durable recovery and resilient future as countries adapt to structural transformations brought on by climate change and the knowledge economy. Because as technology, by the way, keeps taking more and more jobs as technology gets better, we need to do something with all the people. And so everything is happening so fast. I believe that they're trying to break us. And here's the thing that we have to understand, that the dollar has been devaluating over time, and all fiat currencies, all the currencies that are not backed by gold, every fiat currency in the world has eventually gone to its actual real value, which is zero. Okay, so they failed. And our system, ever since Nixon brought us off the gold standard, if you look at the wealth gap charts, you'll see that the people, because every dollar that's put into existence is actually debt. It's a debt-based system, the Federal Reserve note. And when you can be part of the Wall Street and the big banks and the people that are close to those big banks, and then the wealth, the separation gap is huge. And of course, the lending of dollars into everything makes inflation go crazy. If you didn't have, cheap, inexpensive debt right now, do you think houses would be as expensive as they are? People can borrow more and more with inexpensive debt. So it's all fabricated in order to run up asset prices like stocks and houses and stuff like that. But this is all coming to an end because it's all breaking down because our wealth gap is so big. And now everybody recognizes that it's no longer a system that works for people. And here's something that I want to point out, because if they decide not to have the dollar as the US reserve currency or as the world reserve currency, what is that really going to mean to us here in the United States, who we have our houses, we have our 401ks, our pensions, everything is backed by the dollar. Well, when they reset this, it could have an enormous impact on the evaluations. And here's the thing that you may not know as well, and why I've been talking about over the years protecting our wealth with gold and silver. But here's the thing you may not know, okay? The Basel III, which is the International Banking Accord, right, that runs all the banking regulations, in 2019, they returned gold to a tier 1 asset from a tier 3 asset. And what that means is this, and people don't talk about this. They don't talk about this on television at all because they don't want you owning gold. They want the central banks owning the gold. Okay, they want the big banks owning the gold. But what this means is it used to be a tier 3 asset. So gold has run up from about $1,100 up to $1,900 an ounce, basically since they made this announcement. But imagine that the big banks were accumulating gold when it was cheap, and the central banks, because they knew that gold was going to be a tier 1 asset, which means when it's in a bank's reserves, it is now counted as 100% collateral, as opposed to a tier 3 asset, which meant it would only serve as 50% value collateral. That means gold is now up there, which was the US Treasury bills, is the only other riskless asset, riskless, zero risk. So now they make gold this riskless asset as well. And this is huge because the world hasn't caught up to what this means for gold. And this is why I tell people about protecting themselves with gold. And then silver, while they don't back it with silver, there's a 90% correlation between gold prices and silver prices. Silver is much less expensive, but it has a lot more uses in terms of industrial uses and everything. And think about what's going on with the Green New Deal, everything that they're pushing, getting out of oil and fuel, coal. They are now pushing solar and wind, and of course our technology. All these things use silver, so it's going to be in huge demand. And I just wanted to point this out to people so that we could start taking some actions. I've created this group called Financial Patriots, Surviving and Thriving in the New World. And this is to teach people about how to go through this transition. I really believe a transition is coming. It's going to affect us all. I don't know exactly how it will play out, but I believe gold and silver can play a big part, as well as food storage, long-term food storage, etc. Because who knows what actually ends up happening. So I did become, and I've been an investor since 2011 in gold and silver, just so you know. And I also became a licensed broker with this company, Miles Franklin, out of Minnesota. And Miles Franklin has been around for 30 plus years as a physical gold and silver dealer. By physical, I mean, and this is like a 100-ounce bar. You can hold it in your hand because gold, the portability factor of it, the diversification of your portfolio. Gold has historically uncorrelated to stocks, bonds, and other financial instruments. Portable, you can take it anywhere. I have some silver coins like this, silver eagles and Canadian maples. So you can travel worldwide with it, and it is always recognized as real money. So it's a safe haven asset. In times of turmoil and uncertainty in the financial markets and around the world, gold is a popular safe asset to hold. universal acceptance as money. For over 5,000 years, gold has been used as money by governments, and you know, this is all, this Bretton Woods has been an experiment in the world. And also privacy. How important is privacy to us these days? Gold is an anonymous store of wealth. No one will know how much wealth you have, and there's no counterparty risk. That means that gold is one of only a few assets in the world that is not simultaneously someone else's liability, like our debt, our dollars are somebody else's liability, like everything else is somebody else's liability. This is something you own and hold. And so I can teach you all about how to buy it, how to get it, what you want to have, how much you want to have, all those things. And of course, backed by licensing with Miles Franklin, I'm happy to help you out with that. And but just join my group, Financial Patriots. This is happening, gang. And again, I don't know exactly how it'll play out. Of course, probably cryptocurrencies, digital assets and stuff are going to eventually play a part, but those are only 5 to 10 years old, and gold has been around for 5,000 years. And again, with the changing of the Basel III, I believe this means that we're probably, when confidence gets shaken in the market, in the currency system, the only way to really return confidence in the system is to back something by gold. I'm not guaranteeing that's going to happen or anything like that, but if something's been around for 5,000 years as money, what do you think it always goes back to? And it's proven time and time again that gold is a store of value and can be used as real money to restore confidence in the system until that confidence comes back. So I just wanted to share this all with all of you. Send me a message. I'll get you into the Financial Patriots group. You can talk to me about what to do about your own portfolio for your own wealth protection, all those kind of things. I'm happy to help. And again, I appreciate it so much, but I just thought this is new news, and I thought I'd better get this out there to everybody so you can all see and what's happening, research it yourself, and you know, hopefully protect yourself. So again, we can survive and thrive in this changing world that's coming up. Thanks a lot for watching Financial Patriots. I look forward to helping you. Thanks.